Hey guys, if you're a follower of my channel, you probably recognize this right here. This is my VibeDrum. I've done a few videos on it now, but check this out. Oh my gosh, I've got another one. And no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. This one is much, much smaller. Same thing, but much smaller. What's going on here? Well, there's a story behind it, but let me just show you the difference here. I ended up with another VibeDrum, and I'll tell you that whole story as this video goes on. But first, let's get this one out. So this is my double VibeDrum, which I got about, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago, I think. So I did some videos about this. It's a really cool instrument, steel tongue drum. You can see the tongues there, hopefully. This is the double VibeDrum. So a standard VibeDrum is just this right here that I'm holding. A double VibeDrum has tongues on both sides. So a standard VibeDrum would only have the one side. But this is a double, so it has tongues on both sides. So they make both of those models. This one is what they call their copper sun finish. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But that's the VibeDrum that I've done in my videos. Well, they also make one called the Mini VibeDrum. And like the other VibeDrum, it comes with a gig bag. You open the gig bag and out comes a little fleece bag here, and inside of that is your Mini VibeDrum. So there you see, there's our Mini VibeDrum. So it's a little different than the other one, but let me show you. First and foremost, I am holding these about the same distance from the camera, and you notice this one is much larger. And that's true. This is about a 12-inch drum, and this is about a 10-inch drum. Also, look how much thinner. I'll try to get them the same direction. That's kind of hard. But look how much thinner this one is than this one. This one is a lot thicker. And I know that it's going to be hard to tell this in the video, but this is about double the weight as well. This one is much, much lighter. This is what they call their elemental earth color, and this is what they call their copper sun color. They're both the type of paint where it changes colors based on how the light hits it. I'm not sure how well this video is going to represent that, but this one changes from like copper to brown to orange, and this one changes from like orange to red to copper. Which is kind of neat. Both really neat. This is like got a lot of like yellowy tones in it. This has a lot of reddy tones in it. But both really neat finishes. Additionally, this is tuned to standard scales. This has one side that is tuned to D pygmy and the other side tuned to E minor. So those are standard scales that we're used to. This one is tuned to a scale that VibeDrums made up themselves. They call it the desert scale. And I do think it's kind of interesting that this is elemental earth color and it's a desert scale. It kind of makes a lot of sense, right? Additionally, this one is tuned at 432 hertz, where this one is tuned at 440 hertz. Now, if you're saying, huh? That's okay, I'll explain that real quick. Now, I'm not the expert on this, so there are many, many videos out there if you really want to learn about 432 versus 440. Just make a search for that and you'll find tons of videos about that. But from what I understand, if you go to a piano and you find middle C on the piano, and then you find the A above middle C, and you strike that A, it should resonate at 440 hertz in a standard conventional orchestra or Western tuning. That A is going to resonate at 440 hertz. So all the other notes are tuned relative to that 440 hertz reference tone. 432 hertz tuning takes that A down about 8 hertz. Well, not about, exactly 8 hertz, and so it's just a little bit lower. So all everything is still in tune. It's still tuned to the same intervals between the notes, but the reference pitch is just slightly lower. If you take those vibrations and extrapolate them out, from what I understand, the body's natural vibrations and the Earth's natural vibrations are a lot closer to 432 hertz reference pitch than a 440 hertz reference pitch. So a lot of like Native American flutes and a lot of Eastern instruments are tuned at 432 hertz. A lot of like healing music or esoteric stuff is tuned at 432 hertz because it's said to be more closely tied to the Earth. Again, not my area, so I can't comment any more than that. But I will tell you that this is tuned at 432 hertz. So how did I end up with another VibeDrum? Okay, it's kind of a funny story actually. So I had mentioned in my previous videos about this one here, and that I had worked with Vernon from VibeDrums, and he was a really nice guy, and we ended up doing some trade and making a deal that worked out really great for both of us. Well, this was one that he had returned, and it got damaged, and I'm sure you're not going to be able to see this because the damage is so slight, but there's a little chip there that goes through the paint. Maybe you can just kind of see that on the camera. Additionally, so I've actually got to try to find it. Over here, there's a scuff. I don't even know if that's going to show up. That doesn't go all the way through the paint. It's just a scuff there. And then on the bottom here, I can't even get, like me sitting here right now, I actually can't see it, but I can feel it. But there's an imperfection like right here. It might just be an imperfection in the metal. So subtle that literally I can't see it sitting right here, but I can feel it if I touch it. Other than that, I've been over this thing with a fine-tooth comb, and I can't find anything wrong with it. It's perfectly in pitch, anything. But Vernon, apparently, this was damaged in shipping. He got it back, and because I had done those videos to help promote his drums, he offered it to me at an extremely discounted price. It's got to be less than it cost him to make it. And since it was a damage, I figured I was just going to get this when it showed up. I figured I'd get this right here. But no, he sent me the bag, or the liner, the gig bag, and inside this little pocket, it has another set of mallets and the play instructions in here as well. Let me show you that real quick. So it actually has the mallets here, just like the big VibeDrum did, and it came with the instructions. So what a cool guy, you know, what a great company. So I'd mentioned in some of my previous videos that I went and got this little cushion off of Amazon. It's a bar stool cushion, and it works great for playing the VibeDrums, and it also works great for the Mini. So this thing, by the way, I went back and looked it up. This was $16 on Amazon, so, you know, well worth it. It fits right in the bag with the standard VibeDrum. But so here is the Mini VibeDrum in the desert scale, again, tuned at 432 Hertz. So this is... let's just go right up the scale here. So here's the lowest note. So kind of an interesting scale. Again, this is their desert scale. But so that's our E. So what's cool here is that if you go directly across, that's a B, which we know that's the dominant. So you've got, so if I do that, you've got the dominant or the power chord essentially. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So that's cool. If we go to the next note, that's an E again. So hopefully you can hear that. So we've got an octave there. Well, that's interesting. Now we're already up an octave by the time we're on the third note. If we go here, so that's an E, and I've put it on the tuner. That's actually an F. So that's a flat second. That's unusual. And it almost sounds out of tune in just that ratio, right? But hold on, let us keep going. Okay? Next note is our minor third, but it's an octave higher. So it kind of gives that cool like spread to it. Okay, if we keep going around, we get our fourth, and then our fifth again. So there's our fifth again, in an octave. And then we get our flat sixth. Odd, huh? Totally doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem like a scale that would make sense. But it sounds great together. I don't know how they came up with this, but it sounds great together. There's something about the tones. Really, you know, cool sounding scale. But what I discovered in just playing this, so we've got our root here, our fifth here, and that's our octave, and that's our fifth octave. So just with those four tongues, that's just half the drum, but with those four tongues, I could play that all day. I could sit here and do that all day. I mean, just those four notes are amazing. But then when we add in the dissonance of that flat sixth and that flat second, one of my favorite parts about this drum is like the larger one, I feel that it really shines when you play it with your fingers. And you can kind of hit it with the pad of your finger, and you get almost a malady kind of sound, or you can hit it with like the kind of the side of your thumb. And either way, you really get some neat tones out of it. But so here's kind of what you can do with your fingers. Again, I'm no expert at these instruments, but just from what I know. So it's just kind of a fun instrument to play. I mean, so simple, so straightforward. I had mentioned in a previous video that one of the things that I liked about this is it's so portable compared to like a hand pan, but this is so much more portable compared to this. So this thing, once you throw this in the backpack over here, I mean, you can take off on your bike or, you know, just on foot, and you can take this right up the side of a mountain if you want to. It's not heavy, it's easy to transport, and it's just a really neat instrument. So I'm really happy with this new Mini VibeDrum, and just wanted to share it with all of you.